Hello, and welcome to the inaugural Drop Back NFL show on Britballing. Thanks to Britballing for, giving us their Thursday slot.
Love it.
If you haven't been a listener to the Drop Back before, let's introduce ourselves, because otherwise it might get a little bit weird. I'm Sam Lewis. I'm joined by Matt Burns-Peak.
How we doing, Sammy boy?
Joe Costanzo.
How we doing, mate?
And Stan Wilson.
Hello, how are you boys doing?
Very good, mate.
Good. I'm pumped. I'm actually so pumped for this.
Very pumped. We had a few slight technical issues getting started, which is why we're a little bit late.
I blame Joe.
So let's get straight into our live mock draft. Just a heads up, this is what we would do if somehow we became the GMs of these teams.
How stupid that would be?
That would be a bad move. We're about to see how much of a bad move that would be.
Ridiculous.
All right, let's go.
So let's kick it off with the number one pick for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Matt Burns-Peak. What have you got, Matt?
Well, I mean, this is a bit pointless, really. I think everyone's known what this pick's going to be for the last 2 years, and it's made a lot easier by the fact that all the pass rushers in this year's draft, none of them are like that next level Chase Young type talent where it might even make it a conversation. Like, it's going to be Trevor Lawrence. It's Trevor Lawrence straight to the Jags, new potentially future Hall of Famer QB.
There we go. Lock it in.
How he gets on, but
you're not of the Stan Wilson, Chris Sims school of thought, where Zach Wilson's the number one quarterback in the draft.
No, I've got a ton of sense. So
hey, Trevor Lawrence is the safest pick here for sure. Like, I don't deny that. If you want your guy who's going to come in and potentially save your franchise, then I'd go Trevor Lawrence, completely safe pick, and just a solid pick all round, I'd say.
I feel bad for Minshew.
Minshew,
yeah.
We had a lot of fun with
He had a great moustache, but I don't know if that really translates to
great story as well. Sixth round guy comes in, wins the starting job, and all of a sudden he gets booted out for the number one overall pick. So you can't help but feel a bit sorry for the Minshew man.
It's tough business.
I mean, if he got by, he'll get enough endorsement deals on his moustache and mullet. I don't know what more he really needs.
Didn't even need to be able to play football, really. He could have just got by on that.
He basically did. So let's move on to the second pick, which may be almost the first pick in the draft. Stan Wilson with the New York Jets. Who are you taking?
I'm taking my guy, Mr. Zach Wilson from BYU. Oh, come on, Matt. You can't disagree with that pick.
Who's honestly surprised by this?
Exactly. Like these top two picks, like realistically, they're pretty much set in stone. Zach Wilson is just a phenomenal talent. He's got by far the best arm in this class. Yeah, sure, Trevor Lawrence might be more polished all around, but when it comes to ceiling and upside, look no further than Zach Wilson. He can make throws Trevor Lawrence can't. Like, so outside the pocket, off script, he's better.
So you think 5 years down the line, these guys go head to head, you think Zach Wilson's would be the number one pick looking back?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, Staniel. I don't know. I don't know if I see it, to be honest, because
it's fine. It's fine if you don't see it. Like, I'm not expecting it to be a popular opinion because obviously Trevor Lawrence has been touted as the number one pick, well, pretty much ever since he came out of high school. So it's never going to be like everyone's going to be in agreement because he's just a very, very safe pick. But Zach Wilson, for me, has the upside and the likelihood to reach that upside, which would warrant him going number one potentially.
Fair enough. Hey, Chris, thanks for tuning in. Means a lot. So, I mean, the pick next with the San Francisco 49ers, I think this is probably going to be the first part where we see a deviation from the actual NFL.
This is the first interesting one, I think, really.
Oh, cheers, mate.
It is a pretty interesting pick.
Yeah, so, I mean, all the rumours are saying that it's going to be McCorkle Jones out of Alabama. Or maybe there's been a little late surge for Trey Lance. But I've got to go with the quarterback that I think is the second best in the draft, a close 1B to Trevor Lawrence. It's Justin Fields. I think he's the best guy. I would have taken him at number 2 if I had that, but I think Stan probably would have blown a casket at that point.
Yeah, I would have. You're completely correct there.
What a pick, though, to be fair. Justin Fields is fun to watch.
He is. And I think people really, like, we've said it a bunch of times on the pod leading up to this, but when we look at a guy for several years, we just have a tendency to overthink the little things and overanalyze a little bit. And I think that's happened in a large way of Justin Fields, where you see like Chris Sims putting him at going 32 or something ridiculous. He's by all means like probably the second best or third best quarterback in this draft. So yeah, I'm not surprised by that. The safe pick, let's say.
The safe pick.
Boring bastard.
I mean, it's the safe. it's a safe pick, not Mac Jones, who's basically this guy that's been touted as pro ready, will get the ball where you want to go, maybe won't go above and beyond.
I just feel like Mac Jones, I see what you mean. He's a very like high floor guy, but I just feel like he doesn't warrant it. You know what I mean? He doesn't warrant the number 3 overall pick.
I think we've become acclimatized in recent years to these QBs who are mobile, can make ridiculous throws outside the pocket. So your Trevor Lawrence's, Zach Wilson's, Justin Fields in terms of their mobility. But as soon as someone comes along who doesn't have those intangibles, like people are bound to raise an eye. But when it comes to being a true pocket passer QB, Mac Jones ticks all the boxes there. And although you may see him as a finished product, his mental game's going to improve. Like he's already one of the best processors in this class as well. So I think he's a very, very safe pick, and he's ready to fit into a drop back pass offense.
Yeah, Daniel, that's a fair comment. I was close to going with Trey Lance, but at the end of the day, I think I've just got Justin Fields ranked a little bit higher than him because that little bit more experience does play a role, especially when you're giving up that much to go get him.
Yeah, that's fair. To be honest, that's fair.
So who we having to the Falcons then?
Oh, this is another interesting one. You know,
I don't like this.
Why don't you like it?
Because I feel like you're going to do something weird, mate.
I always do something weird.
I feel like you'll do something weird. That's just Joe summed up, though, isn't it?
Okay, so 4th pick, Atlanta. Really, you've got to think: are we going best player available here, or are we going to fill your need? And I think when you have the liberty of picking at number 4, if you're Atlanta, you've got to go best player available and the best weapon available. We've seen what they were able to do, even when they had Austin Hooper in that productive season. So I think I'm going to go for the consensus pick that everyone seems to have, another boring one. To be honest, if I was Atlanta here, I would look to trade back because they're more than one player away from really being solving all their issues.
You were trying to sell trading back to us all day, but we did.
If anyone wants to trade, just let me know.
We repeatedly told you there are no trades in this mock draft.
That's not how it works.
But I'm going to go Kyle
for an
Pitts.
answer.
Kyle Pitts is an amazing offensive weapon, whether he's playing as more of a wide receiver or as a vertical threat tight end. I think he's just complete mismatch. He is, but with a guy like Kyle Pitts, he can do so much. Yeah, there may be some concerns in the run game, but he's not like he's not willing to do it. We've mentioned this a few times. So I think I'm just going to go Kyle Pitts here and be safe.
Yeah, I like that, Joe. Nothing too funny.
Fair
just
enough,
getting it done.
Yes, Terrell, the Falcons do. Pick Pitts.
We're back at the top again now.
We are back at the top. It's me, and we're going Cincinnati Bengals. And
do the right thing, Matt. Do the right thing.
This is the thing, right? Because there's been so much chat about the Cincinnati Bengals really want Jamal Chase because Joe Burrows is rooted for him, and he's such an awesome wide receiver weapon. You know, instant replacement for AJ Green, who's obviously twilight end of his career and everything. And T. Higgins was okay last season without being exceptional. So instant great weapon, right? But after what happened to Joe Burrows last season, you just have to get an O-lineman.
Yes.
I don't even think it should be a question. You have
I'm with you there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stan. You've got 2 exceptional O-linemen at this spot. You take Penei Sewell.
Yeah.
Sewell over Slater.
You take Sewell over Slater. You do.
Why is that?
I just think I think Slater will be a very, very good tackle in the NFL, and I like him a lot. I think Sewell promises. First of all, I think he has still got a high floor like Slater, but I think he does offer that potential to be even more elite. And I think, as Stan said as well, you can shift him to guard, and I think potentially he's even a better fit at guard. As well. So I personally, it comes down to personal preference, right? I prefer Sewell to Slater.
They've got more issues at tackle than guard at the moment, though.
How much of that has to do with leaving the best weapon left on the board available for your Miami Dolphins when Stan takes them next?
No, nothing at all, mate. I mean, I know Stan. He's probably going to take Slater just to spite me at this point, but
I don't know. It's a really tough call here because the Dolphins, it's a very even split here because Chase, you got a great weapon. Slater, you got a great O-lineman who can shift inside and play guard, like pick up the spot that Eric Flowers has just left. So I'm still torn. So you're happy with Penei Sewell going to the Bengals there?
I'm ecstatic with Penei Sewell going to the Bengals.
You're ecstatic.
He's more than happy, mate. He's more than happy.
Yeah, I was just on the topic of Chris Sims. I was listening to Chris Sims' podcast the other day, and he was talking about taking Jamal Chase at that pick for the Bengals. You're saying, a great O lineman can't change a game in the same way that wide receiver can.
I'd argue he can, because if your quarterback doesn't have any legs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Joe Burrow didn't have any legs to throw on towards the end of the season, so you've got to protect him before those wide receivers can actually make those game-breaking plays.
It's the Andrew Luck effect, isn't it? Really, if you neglect a quarterback's offensive line for long enough, then you're just going to ruin their career.
Yeah, you're just going to retire and ditch you. And
they need to do something about it. They didn't address it at all, like we thought they should in free agency as much as they should have. They should have invested heavily in free agency if they wanted to spend a pick.
It was
on
weird
something.
that they didn't.
If you want to buy in on Jamal Chase, then you should have gone in on free agency offensive linemen.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you're trying to send Joe Burrow to the Super Bowl, not the morgue. So you need to take Penei Sewell in, to be honest.
That was a great analogy, as always, Matt.
So it takes us to number 6, Miami Dolphins, and Stan Wilson.
Stan, please.
Bills would have to go up a long way to get up to number 6.
Would be interesting.
Going up from 30.
I would also be surprised to see an AFC East rival make that trade. They would probably have to go to 5 or 7.
I mean, even if it's a great deal, I wouldn't do it out of spite. But
that does sum you up quite nicely, though.
I'm not
right. Let's just moving on to this Dolphins pick here. I'm still incredibly split because I'm looking at their depth chart here. Their left guard spot is completely empty now because Eric Flowers has just been shipped off to Washington, which means their current left guard is going to be Michael Deiter.
Austin Jackson.
Austin Jackson's left tackle, Matt.
I guess,
he's playing tackle, yeah, exactly. So
you do have 2 picks in the first, though.
You do have 2 picks in the first, and this is a very loaded offensive line class. So that being said, with the number 6 overall pick in the NFL draft, the Miami Dolphins will be selecting Jamal Chase.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Honestly, I've been so stressed about.
He was so angry.
I like how
more stressed about how this fake mock draft is going to go
yes,
than
100%.
the real thing.
Because I trust Chris Greer more than I trust you, Stan. Unfortunately, I do trust you a lot, but
Matt, you would trust Chris Greer with anything, though, wouldn't you? Though
cheeky Chris Greer.
So Stan, what makes Jamal Chase the number 1 receiver in the class?
Everything about his game. Like the only weakness that you could even mention about him is maybe the fact he's not a separator in the same way that Devonta Smith is. But when I see Jamal Chase, an early comparison that I made, I think this is maybe back in like January, December, so the start of just watching all these players, is I saw Julio Jones on tape. I saw maybe a slightly smaller Julio Jones. His jump ball ability, best in the class. He attacks the football, so he's always going to come down with it. His route running isn't as bad as people would have you believe. But I mean, in comparison to Devonta Smith, yeah, sure, because Smith's just a phenomenal route runner. But when it comes to being a prototypical X receiver or a prototypical Z receiver, Jamal Chase can do both, and that's what gives him the value. And yeah, just going back to the offensive tackle situation there, this O-line class in terms of tackles is absolutely stacked. So I'd be more than happy for the Dolphins, which is also my pick, to take a tackle later on in the first round. So there you go. Jamal Chase is in Miami.
I'm well proud of you.
I'm glad. I'm glad I'm making you proud, Matt.
And my little brother agrees with you as well. So
fantastic.
Nice.
Okay, so that leaves me at the Detroit Lions, which I've got to be honest, when I got them in the draw, I was completely stumped what to do with because they have holes everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm very tempted to go with Trey Lance here. I know they just got Goff.
I like that.
That would be quite fun.
I don't know. It's really weird, though.
I don't know about
I don't think I could bring myself to be putting Trey Lance on such a horrible roster. It's mean more than anything else.
That's why you wouldn't do it.
Lions
it's really interesting, though, because my rationale with this one here is you wouldn't want to start the clock on his on a rookie QB's contract just yet with the state of their team.
Yeah.
Like, with the Jets, I think they're just about ready because their offense is, I think, it's slightly ahead of the Lions and their defense is far ahead of the Lions. So I think they're ready to kind of start that clock. And obviously you've got a talent like Zach Wilson. But if you're going to take a risk on someone, especially a guy like Trey Lance or Mac Jones, who you're going to take here, like I'd rather build the house up before you start their contract and start that clock.
If I was to take QB, it would be Trey Lance because both of them are going to be sitting behind Jared Goff anyway.
Yeah. That's fair.
If you're going to get a developmental guy, you're better off getting the guy that I perceive to have the highest ceiling.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I reached out to some Lions fans I know, and they had no tips for me. They were like, "We're so barren of all across the field."
I spoke to one this morning actually, and he would say, "I said, who do you want us to take? And who do you want the Lions to take?" And he said, "I actually have no clue." And then someone else replied to the tweet, it was like, "Just trade back." And quite frankly, if we were doing trades, I would think that would be the logical pick, and I think that'd be the same thing.
To be fair, there's been a lot of rumours that the Lions are looking to trade back.
Yeah,
they've just got to accumulate players, really. But so what I do then is I look at the wide receiver room, and that they lost Kenny Golladay and Marvin Jones.
Very true.
So that's their 1 and 2 both this offseason. Yeah, they bring in Tyrell Williams and Rashad Perryman, but not exactly reliable in terms of catching or staying on the field. So I'm going to go with Devonta Smith.
Good.
There you go.
Good pick.
I'm not concerned about his size. I mean, his size would matter if he didn't have such an electric get-off.
Yeah.
So if you can't touch him on the line, it doesn't really matter how small you are.
Especially as he's not going to be on the line of scrimmage that much, is he? Like, he's not going to be lining up as an X receiver. He's hardly going to face press coverage in the situations he can be lined up in.
Yeah, and even if he does, we saw against JC Horn last season that he can still avoid some of the best press players in the draft. So I've got no concern on that side. Yeah, you take Devonta Smith and you don't particularly look back. That's a good pick for the Lions. Well, I think so anyway, which is why I'm taking him.
I do feel with Devonta Smith as well. With Devonta Smith as well, it sort of ties in with what you said, Joe, in terms of like you overanalyze trying to look for little mistakes because you've known about him for quite a while.
I think people are so nitpicky about his size. It's actually ridiculous. Did it matter at all when he played?
Or did it matter with Marvin Harrison, who's only a few kilos heavier than him anyway? And
exactly.
Is he officially a Hall of Famer or is he going to be a Hall of Famer?
I think he would be if it wasn't for like all the weird stuff he did after.
All right, let's move on to the 8th pick in the draft.
It is. It's me.
Carolina
It's with the Panthers. Okay, this is another kind of interesting one because you go down a few different avenues here. Obviously, they've just traded for Sam Darnold and they've traded away Teddy Bridgewater. So I'm still not happy with that QB room, if I'm honest.
And with good reason, Joe, I think, to be honest.
Yeah. And I think if I'm the Panthers here, I could go wide receiver.
Oh, come on. You're not going to pick a QB, are you? You're not going to pick a QB on a team that's given up a fair amount to get a QB.
He makes a good point.
A fair amount, but what is
you don't trade that much. You don't trade that many picks for a backup QB. Come on.
Dan, this is Joe's world. We're all living in it. Take your QB, Joe.
I'm just saying the QB prospects are interesting.
So you can either get a QB who's not protected, or you can have a QB who's got potential.
Not protected. It's not like the Panthers have got a terrible O-line.
I think the Panthers have a decent team actually, and
it's okay. They need a tackle. They really need a tackle, Joe.
Sure, but I'm not
take this pick, Stan.
I would love to take this pick.
Yeah, I know who you take. You take Rashawn Slater, but it's my pick.
Gone.
And I'm not going to take Trey Lance either. I'm going to take Jalen Waddle, wide receiver.
Ooh,
yeah. I think Sam Darnold, basically his whole career at the Jets had no weapons. You're going to a team with Chris McCaffrey. You're going to a team with, I've absolutely completely stumped his
DJ
name.
Moore.
DJ Moore. And you need another, you just need another guy there.
He's a very nice like-for-like replacement for Curtis Samuel as a speedy guy who can move him all around formation.
Yeah, that's
Probably put in the backfield if you want.
So yeah, my pick's in. It's Jalen Waddle.
My counter offer is Sam Darnold's really bad.
But
you just hate Sam Darnold.
We've not had time to really analyze.
I've seen a lot of Sam Darnold.
You can see flashes where he's actually not, but it's just he had no chance in that system with that head coach to actually succeed.
I know he played for Gase, and I do feel I feel like he should be.
You saw what Ryan Tannehill was like when he was playing for Gase. Like it's the same thing.
100%. But also, he makes weird decisions. You can't say he doesn't make weird decisions.
You make weird decisions.
I can't argue with it. It's true.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, nice pick. Matt Burns Peak and the Denver Broncos.
Ooh, the Denver Broncos.
Here's a question before you do. How much does yesterday's trade, 6th-round pick for Teddy Bridgewater, play any impact into this thought process?
Nah, I don't care.
I don't know if it does. Yeah, I'm with you there, Matt.
Isn't it?
I don't really care because, and I'll tell you why, because Drew Lock was rubbish last year.
Well said.
Yeah.
And Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater was not good, but I feel like Teddy Bridgewater, you can say, that's a good backup QB in the league, I think. So I am going to go ahead, and because I don't think that quarterback room is sorted, and I also think that quite a lot of the roster is actually pretty good. To be honest, we spoke about the offense last off season. How many people were like Denver's offense is going to be unreal this season?
Not me.
Incredible. Well, that's because you're a cynic. But I am going to take. I'm going to take Trey Lance here. I think he's too far.
Good man.
If Trey Lance can realize his potential and improve on the errors that we saw in college sometimes in terms of decision making and some of the errant throws. He's got the athleticism to be super, super dynamic and add a different dimension to the offense. And then you give him the weapons that are already there, and boom, that becomes scary. In a division that's already turned into a shootout anyway, you've just put your offense over the top.
Do you have Trey Lance playing straight away? Does he sit behind one of them? Who does he sit behind?
Teddy.
I think he'd end up playing straight away. I think simply because I think you'd kind of expect that if you're a Broncos fan. Like, we're taking 9. It's quite high to be taking someone like that. Like, I could maybe see Teddy Bridgewater starts the season, and then we see Lance very soon after, like one season gets going. But I would say it's more likely that Lance starts opener and does a bloody good job.
I don't know if he starts day one, but I think that we do just generally have a tendency for head coaches not to want to throw their rookie straight in.
Which is very
interesting. Very tempted to.
Exactly.
Which leads us to the Dallas Cowboys, and I believe this is Stan's pick. Daniel Corbett wants a cornerback. Are you going to make him happy, Stan?
Oh no, he's going to do something stupid then.
Daniel, I hear you, and I'm going to give you a cornerback. Your wish is my command. So it's not wrong to take a cornerback here, Matt. It is not. Right, so the Cowboys, on paper, have the best offense. Well, of course I'm in your eyes, Joe, because you told me to pick JC Horn. Well, to be fair, I'm still undecided at this point. I'll talk myself around to whatever I'm going to pick. But on paper, the Cowboys have the best offense in the NFL, and I don't think it's really that close at this point. If they have a healthy team, I expect them to be like a Super Bowl caliber offense. Like their defense is a completely different matter, but this offense is incredible, as we saw towards the start of last season when Dak was actually healthy. Now we move. We move on to their defense now, and that's a completely different issue. So the holes that I'm noticing straight away is defensive tackle. So you've got Levi Onwuzurike and Christian Barmore. This is far too early to take them. The linebacking core isn't particularly strong. Like Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch definitely took a step back last season, but still not enough to really draft a first-round replacement. And then we have the secondary, which is an absolute shambles, minus the addition of Keanu Neal and Trevon Diggs, pretty much. So, with that being said, you're right, Daniel. They need a corner. And the guys at the top of the list here, you've got Pat Surtain, you've got JC Horn, and Caleb Farley.
He's going to do it, isn't he?
He's going to do it.
Right. The Cowboys play a lot of. They play cover. They play a lot of cover 3.
He doesn't know what he's doing. He's got off.
I don't know what I'm doing yet. I'm torn between JC Horn and Caleb Farley here because the Cowboys play a lot of cover 3, and press man on the outside, and JC Horn is very, very good at press coverage, and his route recognition isn't particularly great at this stage in his career, so he could benefit from maybe playing a partially zone scheme, which is what they run with a lot of cover 3. Then you've got the other guy, Caleb Farley, who I do think is the best corner in this class. If it wasn't for his injury concerns, which teams are apparently completely 50-50 split on, I think he'd be the top guy in this class, and it wouldn't even be close.
Do you think, just out of interest, do you think Caleb Farley's route recognition is better than JC Horn at this time?
Yeah. JC Horn uses his hands too much to he doesn't recognize routes through being smart. He recognizes them by grabbing hold of people and feeling it out. Like, I don't have a problem with feeling it out, but I feel like he's a bit too physical at the top of routes for my liking.
Right, so Stan, to get to your pick, does it come down to how much you're concerned about Caleb Farley's history of injuries, and especially that back issue?
I really do think it does. And I would completely understand if people completely disagree with this pick purely because of the injury. But when I look at this guy, I see a guy who's going to be the next big thing in the NFL in the cornerback position. If he stays healthy, that will be what he is. And I've got no doubt in my mind about that. So there you go. Caleb Farley is the new Dallas Cowboys starting corner.
I want to kind of talk about that a little bit.
Because
you just said one of the issues is, if they have a healthy team and yet you're spending a number 10 pick on Caleb Farley, who
this is a perennial
very
All-Pro.
Up in the air.
This guy's a perennial All-Pro if healthy, and Yeah,
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
And
Nice.
teams are
how you've
50-50
gone
split.
from unsure to completely certain like that. That is impressive. That takes
I'm
skill.
saying he's a perennial All-Pro if he's healthy. That's
Ewan
what I
loves
mean.
to see it.
Yeah.
He loves to see
Ewan's
it
all about
stand.
it as well.
Shout out to Ewan there.
Adam
yeah, we're
thinks there's
taking.
no injury concerns. He's
There you
wrong,
go.
but he thinks it.
Well, I mean, teams are 50-50 split on him, and there are already rumours about the Saints making the move up to 10 to go, not to 10, but move up higher in the draft to take him. So deal with that information what you will.
It's interesting because we've heard a lot of rumours as well that the Cowboys ownership really likes Surtain. So I wouldn't be 100% surprised if Surtain doesn't go to 10.
Well, hey, I'm not Jerry Jones though, so
You're not Jerry Jones.
You wish.
I'm
Close
not.
second.
Unfortunately not.
Well, I'm surprised that Stan's favourite prospect has made it this far, to be honest with you. So, I mean, it makes it an easy decision with the Giants now. That O-line has been terrible for years. It's getting a little bit better. You move Andrew Thomas over to the right side, back to where he played for his first couple of years at Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And then you bring in Rashawn Slater.
good man.
Okay. Yeah.
Northwestern, perfect technique, as Stan will say. Doesn't matter how stubby his arms are. But
He's got the same length arms as Penei Sewell.
And then we get to see that matchup twice a year that we saw in college against Chase Young. See if he can continue to shut it down. He's got previous at that, so
We do indeed.
no reason to see that. I mean, I was not expecting Slater to be all the way down here. Thought I was gonna have to choose between an edge rusher that probably would have had to reach for a Jalen Phillips type, which I wouldn't have been particularly happy with. But Slater's here, gonna absolutely run with that pick.
I love a bit of Slater, to be fair. When I was watching him, he just seems like such a pro-ready guy already.
Man, his technique is it's phenomenal. Like
his footwork as well. If you look at the footwork for a tackle at his age is impeccable.
and
just look at what he did against Chase Young.
Yeah,
that's the main thing.
He made him a complete non-factor. And if you're taking what people are saying is the best edge rusher to come out of college in generations, and considering Slater's just completely shut him out, surely that film's just enough to say, look, this guy's pro ready, whack him in there, and he's going to be fine in the NFL.
Whack him in there straight
Absolutely.
away.
And then realistically, you've got no reason for Daniel Jones to not succeed now because
unless he's a bad quarterback.
That's what I mean. You've given him all the opportunities to succeed.
He's on his final
now.
warning.
You know where the problem is.
It's him.
Which we think we know anyway at the moment.
Indeed.
But prove us wrong, DJ.
Do it.
So it's me now, isn't it?
It is you, Joey.
It's me with the Eagles at number 12.
Oh, please.
Our resident Eagles fan, Slew, will be... I don't know how I feel about this pick, to be honest. I'm pretty sure you just want them to take a receiver, if anything. But, I mean...
You're picking JC Horn, aren't you?
What?
You're definitely picking JC Horn here, aren't you?
Yeah, don't guess who I'm picking. Pick who I want, mate.
I guess so accurately who I'm going to choose.
No, I see a few prospects here, to be honest. I mean, you could probably do with a receiver, but right now, the next best receiver on my list is probably a bit of a reach sitting here at 12 to take.
Yeah.
You'd look maybe a potential trade back if the draft falls like this, but I think you guys need a corner for sure.
Yeah, please.
Which corner, Joe? Please tell me.
I mean, I'm also kind of looking at Micah Parsons sitting at that top of that list and
we
thinking...
don't take linebackers. I think we only go from the 6th round or free agents with linebackers.
Nice.
Good. And that's why you're so successful. So, yeah, we're out of the corners. We've got Pat Surtain, who's one of the highest floor corners in this draft. Plug and play guy. You can basically he can start right away. And we've got my favorite, JC Horn, who, like we said, I personally feel like his play recognition for receivers, his understanding of routes is the best in the draft. His press man coverage is just impeccable. Like this year, it just got insane. He never used to do it. He used to just play off coverage the whole time. But this year, he really showed that he can be a tough press man corner. And I'm going to seal it in. I'm going to say the pick's in. I'm going to say JC Horn.
Lock it in.
Knock it in, jumper.
Boom.
Yeah, and I think the only real concern people have with JC Horn is this handsiness, and I really don't think that'll be an issue at the next level as much.
I think he can get
Yeah.
coached out.
I think I sort of talked myself out of the handiness being too much of an issue when I realised that Jayden Ramsey is exactly the same type of corner when it comes
Exactly.
to being
Yeah,
physical.
exactly.
Compares very
He's done
well.
all right.
The only difference between the two in terms of their hand usage is the fact that at the top of routes, like JC Horn gives them a full frisking before they actually get out on their break, which means he never
Full
loses them.
frisking. That seems a little hard.
Good old full frisking.
Yeah,
Can't
it's
let
like
go.
being airport security with them around, honestly.
Amazing. Yeah, I like that pick, to be fair, Jen. I think that makes a ton of sense. And from
Yeah,
Sam's
I-
reaction,
Yeah.
No, I'm delighted with that move. I mean, especially if you put it next to Darius Slay as well on the other side. Suddenly,
that's big.
from not being able to stop anything through the air, you've got a couple of.
Yeah, Darius Slay was the only guy who could cover.
The thing is, I'm unsure if he was really good or just why would you throw against him when you've got other guys that literally can't do anything.
Yeah.
That is a factor for sure.
Throw to the bin.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Yeah,
Happy
I'd have been
with that
livid
pick.
if you'd taken a small wide receiver.
It was, to be honest, it was between JC Horn and Michael Parsons there.
Okay.
Michael Parsons, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Surprised Michael Parsons is making it this far, but then
I'm
again,
not.
I'm not.
considering
the
I've been talking
LA
to you guys,
Chargers with
Me.
is it you?
It is me.
Number 13.
this is surely like an easy pick, surely.
Do you reckon?
I think it is.
all right. Well,
That's
why
because
don't
you're
you
well smart, Stan.
let?
No, I'm
Matt
just saying
think
from
he
what we've
thinks.
seen, like the majority of mock drafts, like have the same player going here the whole time.
Interesting. Well, I think, the Chargers have a few different holes, to be honest. There's a few different sort of ways I want to go. I had 4 players written down here for the Chargers pick, and 3 of them have gone. So it's actually quite straightforward for me, but I don't think any of you are going to like it particularly, especially not Stan, which is almost half why I'm doing it at this point. But I just think, we had a nice little run on QBs to start the draft. We've had a nice little run on corners of late, boys, as well. And I think the Chargers could do with a bit of a plug and play ready NFL caliber. Put him in straight away. Pat Surtain
Ooh.
at corner here.
Really?
Just shore it up in a division where you've got Pat Mahomes, you've got Justin Herbert, you've got
He is Justin Herbert on the Chargers.
he is Justin Herbert on the Chargers. That's correct. You've
Drew Lock.
Drew Lock, brilliant.
Or Lance, I suppose. Trey
You've
Lance.
got now Trey Lance
And Derek Carr.
and Derek Carr.
So you're scared of Pat Mahomes.
I'm scared of Pat Mahomes. I'm scared of what Trey
That's
Lance
what
can
you're
be
really
because that was a fantastic pick at 9 as well. Let's talk about that a bit more. But yeah, I think the Chargers could definitely do with a Pat Surtain in the secondary. Hopefully, Derwin James can stay fit as well this season, and then that's one half of a pretty good secondary, which hasn't been terrible of late, but I think could do with a bit of an upgrade, especially in that division. Surtain, it's in.
There you go.
Captain,
Surtain
lock
to
it
the
in.
Chargers.
Where would you have gone this one, Stan? Out of curiosity,
I'd have gone Christian Darrisaw personally.
I don't like him.
I probably would have done the same thing, but I don't dislike that certain pick.
I'll take it.
I just want to
Daniel's-
keep Herbert safe.
Yeah, Dan's surprised that Mac Jones is still available here.
Well, I see New England sitting there at number 15, so it may fall this
Yeah.
far, but don't be surprised for too much longer.
Keep
It's all,
watching.
Yeah.
it's all I'm going to unless somehow Stan snipes him.
I'm not
With the
taking him.
Minnesota
Here.
Vikings.
I'm not taking him.
Good.
I got 3 guys. I'm looking at 3 or 4 guys right now. Right.
Let's talk us through your thought process.
I'll talk you through my thought process. So, Minnesota Vikings, they need help up front in the trenches. Quite frankly, their O line is weak, especially on the interior and the outside. Actually, so just generally the entire O line needs plugging up. And as I've said before, it is an O line heavy draft, so we could potentially look to take guys in the second round where there'll be a big rush on offensive tackles, especially. I'm inclined to think. And then we've got Jalen Phillips sitting here as well, like probably the best pass rusher in this draft. And if you pair him up with Daniel Hunter on the edges, you're going to wreak havoc there. Because at the moment, their starting defensive end opposite Hunter is Stephen Weatherly. So Jalen Phillips would definitely be an upgrade.
That's the issue, Matt.
Hmm.
Nobody
Oh, I
knows.
thought that was the pick. No, you're still unsure.
I'm still thinking. I'm going to have to go O-line here. I'm going to have to go O-line because the way they play football is they run the ball and they run the ball consistently. And you can't open holes for a guy like Dalvin Cook unless you have blockers up front who are capable of moving around D linemen. So Because I'm not sure of whether I want a guard or a tackle here, I'm going to take Elijah Vera Tucker out of USC because he's won all Pac-12 honors playing both positions. So I'm going to send him over to Minnesota.
Nice.
I thought you were going Garrisol that whole way, and then you hit us with a swerve of Vera Tucker, but I like that.
Yeah, flip through a curveball right at the end.
I like that. Makes a lot of sense, to be fair.
There we go. I mean, we mentioned it before, Stan's pick, New England Patriots. Again, I've been left in a situation that I wasn't expecting to have a guy here still. Number 15, Matt Jones. I'd be surprised if the Patriots don't end up trading up for a quarterback. In this draft, somehow they managed to sit at 15 and still get a guy that he'll either be able to sit behind Cam Newton, provided he's actually healed his shoulder, or should be ready to plug and play straight away. I mean, New England Patriots, they got a couple of safe tight ends now this offseason. They've actually got targets. They got a couple of guys on the outside in Bourne and Aguilar who may not be top level guys, but they'll be good enough. They'll catch them balls.
Not top level.
They're not top
Aguilar
level.
Won't catch.
Hey,
he
did say one pass a game each year.
He did say that he'll catch some balls, which was an important.
I don't know. I think Aguilar's a little bit underrated. He had a good season last year with the Raiders.
Yeah, he bounced back quite well, to be fair to him.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Matt Jones, I mean, everyone's talking about him as Brady light anyway. I don't think he's that because that's such ridiculous praise. But
well, because he can't run, he's Tom Brady.
I think it's because he doesn't have a whole lot of athleticism, and he's just apparently is the best between the ears of all the QBs.
I feel like that's quite a lazy comparison, isn't it? Really?
I think, it is. I think it happens every year though. If a QB isn't mobile and he's a white guy, he's going to get likened to Tom Brady, isn't he?
I think that's because that's what you have to be to succeed. If you don't have next level physical traits, he has to be so good at reading the field to reach the same level as any of the other four guys taken above him, because they've just got a natural advantage of just being so much more physically talented as passers, as runners, both.
That'll be interesting, to be fair. Then you've got Zach Wilson and Matt Jones in the same division as well.
I'm saying that as a Matt Jones style quarterback myself.
Because you're slow as shit.
You're sneaky fast, though. Don't say stuff. So do you think it's all just smoke and mirrors, the 49ers trading up originally to take Mac Jones? Do you think
I think they're taking Mac Jones.
I think they're torn. The scouting department won't want him. Apparently, so the rumours are that Kyle Shanahan wants Mac Jones, and I completely believe that. But then apparently the scouting department want Trey Lance, and that's something I can also believe. So they're going to have to either meet in the middle here, and one of them's going to have to sway the other one.
Take
Justin Fields. Side.
Mac Jones. Justin Fields, yeah.
I don't think they'll take Justin Fields.
See, here's the thing. I get what the scouts are saying about Trey Lance, but at the end of the day, he's running Kyle Shanahan's system. If Shanahan thinks that Matt Jones is the guy that can do that best, then he's the guy you've got to go with. Yeah,
and look at the guy that he took to the Super Bowl last time. Admittedly, they choked it up pretty hard, but the year that Matt Ryan had in that system was absolutely phenomenal. He was MVP that year.
Yeah, absolutely. To be fair, the other reason I've gone QB with the Patriots now is because I think they're going to be too talented again to be anywhere near within touching distance of a quarterback. Remember when Belichick shook his head to Matt Jones when he made some overthrows at his pro day? So I don't pick him unless I'm thinking the wrong QB. No, that was Belichick and Matt Jones. Shanahan was also shaking his head, and we all think he's going there.
I think Shanahan got flashbacks of Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, I think that's a fair comment. My issue is that I don't think that the Patriots are going to get another opportunity to get a first-round caliber.
That's
first-round caliber quarterback. Like they bottomed out last year. That's the worst we've seen the Patriots for years. They had basically no offense.
Yeah, they didn't really.
And they still finished with the number 15 overall pick.
Yeah, I blame Cam for that. If Cam's not their starting QB, they'll be so much better.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. They're so much better. Matt Jones, lock it in.
Lock it in, jumper. Number 16. Another host's team I have, which is the Arizona Cardinals. Stan's very own Arizona Cardinals.
I feel very threatened.
You do?
Yeah. My worst nightmare here is him just picking a play that he knows I don't like, which I know he's going to do.
Joe in general.
Oh.
Okay, Stan, walk me through your team needs real quick.
I like this. He wants you to pitch him.
I want a corner.
I don't care what you want. Walk me through what your team needs.
Right, we need a corner really badly because the cornerback room is very, very bare at the moment. Like Malcolm Butler's our number one corner. Dre Kirkpatrick still hasn't resigned. Byron Murphy's only a slot guy, so we need like another outside corner, if not two. So that's not really an option here anymore.
I don't think, to be honest, with the corner thing, I don't think the value you'd get at 16, the way this draft has fallen, that you really get much value out of it.
Linebacking core, like the Draft Network here, they list linebacker as a position of need, but I think that's completely false considering we've got Hicks, Campbell. We've got Hicks, Campbell, and Isaiah Simmons. Like, that's 3 linebackers already.
It's not bad, to be fair.
Tell you what, if you pair Micah Parsons with Isaiah Simmons, you have the most athletic linebacker duo
that don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Although, to be fair, like you look at it and it's like Micah Parsons is in some draft boards being taken as a top 6 pick, really.
He won't be. There's no way he will be.
Yeah, I mean, I also see his flaws and stuff, but sitting at 16, it is potentially.
I think the issue with Parsons is that he only really fits at the moment until he develops a little bit more the Patriots system and the Miami Dolphins. Maybe New York, depending on how they change it with Judge, but I'd be surprised. But just with those aggressive linebackers where he can just shoot the gap or play on the edge and rush.
He's limited to playing as a 4-3 outside linebacker at the moment, in my opinion.
That's fair.
So, Joe, put him out of your misery and let him know who you're picking.
I'm going D-line.
Okay.
Ooh, go on.
I actually quite like this. If it's who I think it is, I actually quite like this. Don't make me sad.
Well, I think, to be honest, it's more you need interior D linemen more so than edge defenders right now. And I can think of a particular great playmaker that I would take with this pick.
You're not going to do it to him.
He is going to do it to him.
Christian Barmore out of Alabama.
I can't believe the betrayal I've just witnessed.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. Some people have got concerns with his
Stan has concerns about him. Stan doesn't want him.
Nick Saban takes him out on passing down. No, sorry, he takes him out on running down.
It would be very silly if he took him out on passing downs because he got 12 pressures in the last 2 games.
I misspoke. Either way, you're drafting him to help fix our rush defense, but he got taken out by a college team.
Drafting him to make sacks, mate. Did you get sacks? I don't give a shit about your rush defense. I don't give a shit about
this pick. It's not like you're drafting for them, is it?
You don't give a shit about our entire D line or our defense from what you've said so far either.
So Stan, are you saying that you wouldn't have?
You do need an interior defensive lineman though.
We've got Corey Peters. We drafted 2 guys last year as well who are progressing.
Would you be more or less upset with that pick than I was last year when they took Jalen Rager?
And that was pure agony, by the way.
No,
considering Jaden Phillips, Quitty Pay. Considering Jayden Phillips, Quitty Pay, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, Landon Dickerson, those 4 are still on the board, I'd be furious.
You've done your job, Joe. You came into this being like, I'm going to wind Stan right up.
Yeah, well done, Joe. You've succeeded.
He's a good player. I honestly think you're not losing.
He's a good player when he's not trying to stop the run. Yeah.
All right, let's cycle around. Las Vegas Raiders, almost called them Oakland Raiders.
Almost.
Matt Burns pick, number 17.
Oof. See, this is a fun one as well, to be honest, because again, they've got quite a few needs. Their O-line's been somewhat butchered of late. And also linebacker pops up in my head as something that they could definitely improve on with that linebacking core. When we come to that, as interesting prospect, but with that scheme, I don't think he fits particularly well at this point. I don't think you can put him in there and he's going to instantly play well. So there's a couple of names that are floating around in my head right now. One of them is Nick Bolton, who I know Stan would be very happy he's been mentioned.
That's a bit high. That's a little bit high for Bolton.
First linebacker taken.
Jesus Christ!
I don't like him as the first linebacker taken.
Especially you got Jamin Davis here as well. Jeremiah.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Well, you know what? It doesn't really matter if you don't like Nick Bolton. Davis, I think
at 17,
class. I think Jaden Davis is absolutely class.
He is.
You're picking him over Owusu-Koramoah.
I'm going to be honest. Matt in the layout right now. That
is true. A terrible place to be. But yeah, I genuinely I think Davis is a great option. So
okay.
Spoken like a true Raider.
Boom. Doesn't matter if it doesn't make sense when it comes to drafting in the first round.
Next up, we've got the Dolphins, I believe.
Yeah.
Staniel.
Don't do what you're thinking of doing.
All
what I
right, so we
think I'm
got.
thinking of doing.
I want to take Jalen Phillips here.
Do
Then
I'm
do
good.
go crack
I've
on,
got
mate. Do what
to.
you want.
I have to take Jalen Phillips, don't I? I'm looking at the two guys in mind, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah and Jayden Phillips. But come on, the one thing the Miami defense was lacking last year was that guy who would get the sacks. They had the interior sorted, they had the secondary sorted. They need that final guy, similar to the New York Jets, who can clean up and is going to be the beneficiary of all this pressure. And that's going to be Jayden Phillips.
I love that.
Absolutely phenomenal guy. Any other draft, if it wasn't for his concussion, like his past concussion issues, he would be talked about as like a top 10 pick, like your Chase Young type of guy. Yeah, 100%. But because he retired from the sport, because he crossed off, he had 3 concussions whilst at UCLA, so they basically kicked him off the team and said, "Look, you're done. 3 strikes, you're out." He managed to transfer to Miami. He got his playing time this year, absolutely balled out.
Wrecking ball.
He was a wrecking ball. And so, yeah, he doesn't even have to get on the plane. He can stay right home in Miami.
I love that. And logistically, it makes sense as well.
It does.
Underrated factor. No, I'm joking. But no, that is a really good fit. And I mean, from a Miami fan as well, I don't think we've really quite recovered from the Cam week aging and then subsequently leaving fiasco.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to move far. Exactly.
Yeah, just pop down the road. This is my
True.
new job.
All right.
It's the same stadium, Joe.
It's literally the same stadium.
Is that me with the Washington football team now at
It's you with
19?
the Washington football team.
With the football
Indeed.
boys.
Is Darasaur still on the board?
He is.
Darasaur is somehow still on the board.
Right, absolutely. Christian
Yeah.
Darasaur. I mean, you guys
Lock
make
it in.
really easy. Yeah, I mean,
I don't like how easy we've made this draft for you, actually, in hindsight.
There are a few.
I'm liking it
bigger
quite a bit, to
prospects
be
slipping.
honest.
So it's not even a question if it's just Darasaur.
I mean, before, I didn't expect Darasaur to be there, so I thought I was going to have to contemplate one of the other left tackles, and I thought it'd be a little bit high for that. I was thinking maybe a Rashad Bateman and let Curtis Samuel be the slot guy. That probably would have been
That'd be fun.
maybe Kadarius Toney and let Curtis Samuel and Kadarius Toney drive people just absolutely nuts. I was thinking I'd have to go Tevin Jenkins, but if Christian Darasaur's there, plug and play left tackle,
Send it in.
send it in. I mean, if you guys keep making it easy, I can just leave my list of ideal
And we'll
prospects and I'll
exactly.
finish it off for me.
Down shots.
Yeah, just leave your draft board out and we'll be fine.
Exactly. Nice job, Christian Darasaur.
Can I?
There you go.
Has Jalen Waddle gone?
Yeah, he has.
Yes,
Jalen
Jalen
Waddle man has gone.
I had a terrible thought then that we just completely forgotten Jalen Waddle exists.
No, don't you worry, mate.
Don't you worry at all.
Cool.
Cool. It's my pick now. I'm picking for the Bears, I believe.
Good luck.
Yeah, I would have liked to have maybe
Not done this.
held on hope that Mac Jones slept a little bit further, but unfortunately, it is not. You've got the red rifle. I'm not reaching for a quarterback here.
That's fair.
But really, I'm kind of torn. It's a bit annoying that you just take Darasaur, to be honest.
I was
Because,
never not going to. He was right there, mate.
yeah, I know,
Rude.
but
It's in his lap.
I thought you preferred Jenkins anyway, Joe.
yeah,
On your
I don't
list.
know. It depends when you're going to play him. Like,
Tackle?
it's comparing a left and right tackle. It's a different position, but
Not take Jenkins?
I'm considering it.
But you love Jenkins.
You do love Jenkins, Joe.
Look at that little smile.
Don't gaslight.
Look at that little smile.
We're not gaslighting you. On our rankings. You can find on our Instagram page. Like Joe, you put Tevin Jenkins above Christian Darasaur.
You did.
I know, I did.
So
I mean, and currently the Bears do have Elijah Wilkinson at right tackle.
I'll tell you what, though. I'll tell you
Exactly.
what, and this is why I'm going to take Elijah Vera Tucker, and it's
He's already
because
gone.
they.
Hasn't he
gone.
gone? I'm pretty sure it's
Has
that's
he?
to the Vikings.
He's gone. So it looks like you are.
I am
Who is
taking
it?
Jenkins there. Jenkins, it is. I do love Jenkins. The only reason I was going to pick Vera Tucker is because he can slip into guard and tackle, and they do need help.
But not
to
both at the
guard
same
tackle.
time, to be fair.
Yeah, I know, but if he struggles at tackle, you can move him to guard or vice versa. It's
Yeah, that makes
possibility.
sense.
However, I love Tevin Jenkins. I love just the tenacity he plays with. It's grounded in really good
Big word.
technique. Another thing that people say, "Oh, he's got short arms." I don't care. Tristan Wirfs
Yeah,
has
look
short
at you. You've
arms.
done it for years.
My arm reach is surprisingly long. I don't know. Woo!
Flex on them, Joey. Flex on
Flex on those.
Boom. Yeah, I like that. I think that makes a ton of sense, to be fair. And I'm happy that you picked Tevin Jenkins because you
Okay,
were.
and swinging round Matt, Indianapolis Colts. They seem sort of. I completely forget about them now.
Yeah.
There were all the talk about every rumor before they got Wentz, and I haven't heard like a single draft
Stum.
rumor about them at all.
Absolutely stum.
They're an
Yeah,
easy
it's a weird
they're an
one.
easy forget about team though, aren't
Well, don't say that. We might have Colts fans that are watching. Sorry, Colts fans. Stan's just
Let us know in
salty.
the chat if you are a Colts fan.
Stan's just salty about Barmore.
they?
So, yeah, thinking about this and looking at their roster, I quite like receiver here
Yeah.
for the Colts. To be honest, I think that would, you've just gotten Carson Wentz. It would help round out that offense. We've talked a lot about the guys that are available after you get rid of Chase, Smith, Waddle, and what you're. I'm going to go Rashad Bateman. I think at this point, I'm an excellent player. I think he will instantly elevate that. As it's very much personal preference at this point with the word. No doubt. I think, but I think you plug him in straight away to that by a fair amount.
Who left out wide receiver room? Because then you've got 4 good guys.
True.
Because what you got, T.Y. Hilton.
The getting up in age. I think you're starting to enter the realm of finding someone to be able to pass the mantle on to.
He's a slot guy as well, though, isn't he?
He's a slot guy. And yeah, I think it just gives Carson Wentz more weapons as well.
Yeah.
I think Pittman showed some good stuff last season, so I'm high on Pittman having a great second year, but I still think Rashad Bateman here is a great.
Yeah, because you
Are
need
worried
3.
about? Go ahead, Stan.
You need 3 starting wide receivers, don't you? You can stick Michael Pittman. He'll be your X receiver. You've got Bateman is your Z, and then Paris Campbell he'll just be like a utility guy, won't he? You just put him wherever because of his speed.
All right. Were you tempted to go tackle after Costanzo retired?
A little bit. That crossed my mind, but I don't know if I like any of the tackles that are left enough to take them at 21. Personally,
Yeah.
No, that's absolutely fair. It's quite high for one of these other guys. So Tennessee Titans, Stan Wilson. So I imagine you probably have Bateman penciled in there if he'd taken that far.
Yeah,
Me?
Yeah, after they lost Corey Davis.
Well, Bateman, I've got guys that are above Bateman on my list, so I wouldn't have gone for Bateman here. But yeah, they do need wide receivers because currently they're lining up with AJ Brown, Nick Westbrook Akine, and Josh Reynolds as their starting wide receiver. So
Is Josh Reynolds the one that was at the Rams?
yeah, he played slot for the Rams. He was behind Cooper Kupp, so he didn't really get that many reps. But
until Cooper Kupp gets injured every year, and then you get loads of reps.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, Tennessee Titans, pretty solid O-line. They could do with some help on the right side still after Conklin's left. Defensively, cornerback is pretty weak. Safety's okay. They could still do like a strong safety. And yeah, linebacking core interior wise isn't strong at all. See, my next wide
number of
receiver
holes for a team that is sort of there and around that AFC Championship.
Yeah.
They're not as good as they were. Like I think they've fallen off like a fair bit.
Defensively, they took a step back.
Yeah.
In a big way as well.
Like last year, I thought they'd be a lot better than they were, considering they were all veterans and they'd all played together before. But yeah, I was proved completely wrong there. So
happens, man.
It's like Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is still here, and he could play that strong safety spot that's vacant. He can play a bit of linebacker as well. I do really want to take him here.
But
I don't know. I don't know if there is a but, to be honest with you. I'm good. I'm locking it in. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is now on the Tennessee Titans.
Wow.
There you go.
I'm surprised he fell that far, to be honest. I love Jeremiah.
Yes, no, so do I. I think he's the best linebacker in this class, and it's not particularly close either.
I think it comes to a couple of things. Either people have needs more significant than linebacker, and the fact that there are so many linebackers available around that second round sort of grade.
Yeah,
so
that is true.
I wouldn't be surprised if we only saw 1 or 2 in the first round, when there are plenty of guys that would be, based on the talent, perfectly capable of being there.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
All right, so is that me with the New York Jets?
The New York Football Jets.
It is. Okay, so Stan took Zach Wilson earlier, which means I don't need to take Callum Mond.
That would be disgusting.
That'd be a rogue one.
That made me feel so sick if you did that.
Screw it, double up the first.
Double up with.
Can't be wrong twice.
Gadget sets.
tempted to go edge rusher here,
Okay.
Yes, do it.
but I'm also quite tempted to actually give Zach Wilson some weapons.
That would be nice. I'm sure
Dan
he'd appreciate
agrees.
it.
Oh yeah, Dan agrees with the weapons. I just don't. The one I would think would be Terrace Marshall would be the one we're taking here. My issue is that he's a very similar mold to Denzel Mims. So I'm gonna give a little bit of a hand to a Jets defense that was actually playing well down the stretch last year. Need an edge rusher. Michigan's Quitty Pay. Steal a pick from Joe Costanzo,
Good man.
who looked like he was about to take him.
No, I
yeah, I
wasn't.
think he's great. He's a high motor kind of guy. He'll pull up some good stats. And you know
The
what?
highest motor.
The highest motor, exactly, from the Motor City. And yeah, I think it's just a nice, safe, solid pick for the Jets here, who need players more than they need like stars at this stage.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree.
Ravens.
I know you wanted one
27.
that was worth it.
Ravens could have done with him at 27, though.
I've got the
Nice.
Ravens, so I wasn't going to take him anyway.
There's plenty more edge guys in this class. Come on.
Yeah, but
Cool. So it's me, 24, with the Steelers now. An interesting one.
has this not been bolted on for like the last
So
5 months?
It's what we know. We know it's going to be Trevor Lawrence,
Yeah.
Zach Wilson,
And Harris to the Steelers.
Matt Jones-ish, and then Najee Harris to the Steelers.
Or-
Agrees on in their mock drafts.
It happens, Joe.
Joe, as a running back, it would be a bit traitorous for you to not do that.
That'd be a weird move. That'd be a weird
you
move.
can't
Do you not
pressure
like
me
running
into doing
backs?
anything. I'm looking at the available prospects right now. So you need a tackle and guard, really, if you're the Steelers
I
right
thought
now.
you just said, I thought you just locked in Najee Harris. I've just selected it in on the.
Not for him.
No, they just kept saying Najee Harris, and I didn't do
We
I
anything.
thought you were gonna. My audio cut out slightly. All I heard was just Najee Harris. So I selected him in.
Anyway, let me know what I was going to say. Anyway, despite you putting in the wrong pick, you need a tackle or a guard at the moment, really. If you're the Steelers, the Steelers have always been known to have a good O line, and
He's just gone.
that is indeed true. So you could also go centre here. The thing is, I don't like the value I'm getting at the moment because we're not doing trades. This is something where I could either go centre now or I could go for Najee Harris, who's
And
been
which are you gonna do?
basically.
I mean, I know you'd love to go centre, but at the same time, Stan has already made the picks for you.
Already happened.
All I
That's
heard
so
was
unfair.
Najee Harris.
Yeah,
So
but
you
that's
can- you can-
that's
Wait,
so
you can
unfair.
find a way around
genuinely
it.
not going to go Najee Harris.
I was considering Najee Harris or Landon Dickerson.
Landon
I was
Dickerson.
really considering Landon Dickerson at centre.
Yeah,
To be
that
honest.
would have been a
Literally-
bad shout, to be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, if he goes Landon Dickerson, we'll just make the Landon Dickerson guy Najee Harris if he does get drafted.
I'm going to go Najee Harris.
Good.
Man,
Hey.
good.
You
Well
just
done
wanted
to
to
make
kick up
it
a fuss
easy.
about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you need O-line as well, but at the same time, it's been rumoured so many times. Najee Harris, I really like him as a prospect. I think he's probably is the only running back who's going to be going out in the
He's
first
like a
round this
better
draft.
James Conner in the fact that he's a bit versatile. He can run between tackles.
And he showed last year he can catch.
Yeah.
Anyone's a better James Conner.
Yeah, are you looking forward to your running back room this year, Stan?
Connor
Nope.
All right. Matt, Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jacksonville Jaguars need a safety. We spoke about this on the podcast this week, literally about what they would do at this pick. A few sort of suggestions we fluttered around, but I think one of the things we landed on as a group was that they need another safety. It's not a great class for safeties, as we've spoken about a fair bit, isn't it, guys? To be honest, like there's a few guys in there that look all right. I feel like the talent levels are all very sort of similar. But saying that, I am going to go with Trevor Moehrig here to the Jags. I think it makes a ton of sense. I'm not enamored with the value of taking him at 25. I think in terms of talent, I don't know if he is a top 25 pick, but I think it's a need that the Jags have
You
to
know
fill.
what? It fits a need on a team that actually, when you look at it, shouldn't have been as bad as they were last year.
It's
100%.
almost like they were trying to lose.
Almost, yeah. But players don't try to lose, it's front officers.
That's true.
Right, so Stan with the Cleveland Browns.
Right. Difficult decision here. They need
There's a
linebacker.
guy here that you literally, I don't see how you wouldn't take.
Are you thinking of Micah Parsons here by any chance, Joe?
He's at 26.
If you need a linebacker there,
Stan, you've been saying this the whole time.
Back it up.
They need
And you
linebacker.
click it.
So, right.
We can. We're literally completely shocked.
Right. So
You're doing it.
yeah, I'm torn here because my guys, as far as like linebacker are concerned, I'm not too high on Micah Parsons because I see an athlete, not a football player. But if I think this would be a good fit for him because they need like an outside linebacker to fit their 4-3 scheme, and that would be a great place for Parsons to go. It's difficult though.
The second in the ranking, you up extremely low on him. I think you just overthought it.
It happens with all the top prospects.
I don't think I've overthought it. This is a guy I don't rate Micah Parsons. Like I don't rate him. I think he's an athlete. I don't think he plays football well. His tackling is his ability to shoot the gap is great, and that's just about all to his game that I can feel particularly enamored by. His tackling is completely just overstated and overrated. His ability in coverage is pretty much non-existent. He doesn't understand the game of football, and he's only played linebacker. He's hardly played linebacker, and that is an issue for him more than other guys. I'm saying what I think, and I'm not going to take Micah Parsons here because I just can't bring myself to.
Fair enough. I respect he's young. Who is it?
I want to take Nick Bolton here. I really do, but yeah, I'm taking Nick. I'm sticking with Nick Bolton. I'm sticking with my guy. This is a guy, he flies downhill like no one else. He's, despite not having like quote unquote sideline to sideline speed, he makes it happen. He makes the plays happen. You can see it especially again in the Alabama game when Mizzou played Alabama earlier in the season. He gets the job done. As far as linebackers are concerned, in the run game, he's as solid as it gets. Phenomenal tackler, works well between blocks. Yeah, not so great in coverage, but I'd bet on him to learn it. So Nick Bolton, I think Nick Bolton's just going to completely just revolutionize their run defense this year if he gets picked by them. So that's my pick.
Fair enough.
It's
I
a
like
good
that,
pick,
to be honest.
Can't argue with that, which takes me to the first of Baltimore's 2 picks. It's funny how none of us ended up with our own teams.
Yeah, that is weird.
It is a bit
Enjoying
bizarre.
the weird looks Joe's giving you.
So, 2 things I think they need most
Can you get revenge
are
on
wide
him for me?
receiver who can win one-on-one consistently, and an edge rusher that could sort of play that outside linebacker role.
So which kicker are you taking and why?
So I'm going to take LSU punter. I think I'll go receiver here because I'm not sure he'll last to the second. They've got a greater choice of edge rushers at pick number 31. So I'll go stick with LSU. LSU, Terrace Marshall Jr., 6'3", big guy, can win those jump balls, and he'll allow Marquise Hollywood Brown to not have to be the go guy.
Yeah.
So I love that fit. I think he'll. I mean, that Ravens passing attack is so much.
Yeah.
But Marshall's a go-to guy. He'll just help Lamar take that next step, and there's no reason he won't be if they got passing attack back in the MVP conversation next year.
Yeah.
Terrace Marshall Jr., LSU.
That's
There you go.
so easier for the market to have season. You know that they've got a balanced offense. So much from last year that we just knew they were going to run it because they didn't have anything else going on the outside. I think that makes total sense. Yeah.
Plays with the Saints now, isn't it? It's probably the receiver to go with Michael Thomas. I think looking at the fact that they need a linebacker and the fact that Mark Parsons is still
Such a good guy for not letting it happen.
I mean, it's like this isn't going to happen. Like, just saying this right now. The fact that we've let this happen and real, but I'm gonna put it in now.
Maybe not as dramatic as this.
I mean, I don't see the Saints not taking Parsons with this pick. Yeah, they could go more big, but they're going to take Mike Parsons if he's there, surely. I wouldn't be surprised if they traded up for him.
I can't argue that. Was that Mark Sabansky knocking about in the chat?
It was indeed.
Yeah, we did a great podcast with him a couple of weeks ago. Go back and check that out. Spotify,
Check
Apple
him out
Podcasts,
as
wherever
well.
you get them from.
We love it. Shameless plugs.
No, I have absolutely no shame in that regard. Next pick, Matt with the Green Bay Packers.
Right. I for one am sick and tired of Green Bay not getting.
Is this?
Why is Russ still up there? I thought he would have gone that. That's a good point, Dan.
Is this Elijah Moore? I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I'm guessing so. I mean, there's two more that I've actually got circled for this pick.
You love Rondale too, don't you, Matt?
Elijah and Rondale. I love Rondale more out Purdue, to be honest. And I know that hasn't been someone who's been talked about a whole bunch, especially in the first round.
We're getting into the late first round, though.
We are getting into the late first round. And I think it's high time that the Green Bay Packers gave Aaron Rodgers some more weapons.
This isn't going to happen.
I know, which is exactly why this pick would never happen, right?
They're definitely taking Kellen Mond here.
I wouldn't even be
You
surprised.
can't be winning 2 drafts in a row.
I'm gonna go with my heart over my head with this one, and I'm gonna pick Rondale Moore. I'm gonna take Rondale Moore over Elijah.
Wow.
Shock if it happened. I love it. But I mean, we all know they're going Landon Dickerson if this situation's.
Yeah, if Landon Dickerson's there, 100%. Like, Dickerson's going to become an all-pro centre.
Yeah, Landon Dixon's good, but Rondale Moore is.
Plus, they love winding up Aaron Rodgers.
They do love. It seems like it's almost like that's how you get him going. Is like you do a bad draft and not give him any weapons. Then he's
Wasn't he was the last offensive skill player taken in the first round by the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
Jesus, that is poor, isn't it?
outrageous.
It's not
That is
good.
very
So, Stan, your last pick of the draft. How are you going
My
to
last
end it
pick of
with
the
a bang?
draft.
Buffalo Bills.
Buffalo Bills. This is like you have to go receiver here.
Silly.
You absolutely have to go receiver here. Matt, I'm with
Wait,
this.
what? That's like the lot.
Why?
They just lost John Brown. They need number 2 receiver.
They've got
They've
Emmanuel
got-
Sanders.
Yeah, they've also got,
this one. I don't trust Emmanuel Sanders.
I don't trust Emmanuel Sanders at all.
They've
What
got,
about
what's
edge
his name?
or corner? Do you not think those are needs?
I don't trust Emmanuel Sanders.
Who's the
I
little
think
guy in the slot that they have?
Cole
good.
Beasley.
Cole Beasley.
Cole Beasley. He played really well last season.
Yeah, he did play
Yeah.
really well last
Still
year. But
Cole
you, can't-
Beasley, though.
you need 3 receivers. Like, and he's a slot guy. You got Diggs playing your X. I want someone to go and play.
Do you need it as much as you might need an interior defensive lineman or an edge?
Not interior. To be fair, I don't disagree with it. If you think about it, it's not like they have a consistent tight end to be their
Exactly.
receiver too. Anyway,
You also
so,
need 2 cornerbacks.
I don't hate the receiver. They've got Levi Wallace, who's all
Yeah,
right.
see, look, I think we could get an edge. Like, if I was going to go edge rusher here, I'd go Jason Owe or Joe Tryon here. And cornerback wise, you got Greg Newsome, Eric Stokes, Fat,
Greg Newsome's very
what's called
good.
Bossman Fat, Kelvin Joseph.
Look at his face.
Yeah,
was
that
such
would be a brilliant pick.
That
So.
was such a, he's honestly.
It's not going to happen, but it would be a brilliant pick.
I'm going for one of my top 5 receivers here. Diami Brown, North Carolina, plug and play straight away. Absolutely like ridiculous talent. Like his production numbers would have been so much higher at any other college because of the fact that the ball's being handed off a lot. They got a spread offense.
Yeah.
Like a lot of receivers get touches. Essentially, there's lots of manufactured touch as well because it's an old school air raid scheme. So Diami Brown for me slots right in there, and he's going to have a similar year to the year that John Brown had last year with the Bills and the year before that when he was there, which is just solid number 2. Perhaps he sneaks up and has a 1K yard season as well, which is even more likely with the lengthened season.
Did anybody else think about potentially running back here as well? After
Not
how
the first round.
disappointing.
I mean, they've got
Nope.
their guys aren't great.
Yeah.
in Marston Singletary,
There's
but
so
they're
many
definitely
guys you can get in the
serviceable and
second.
definitely not worth taking a first round pick.
I would
think-
say Javonte Williams is on the board. And
Not as a, I think he's better than
Yeah,
I think
but-
he's better than ETN, but I wouldn't take him in the first personally.
yeah, true.
And especially because they're that close to sort of Super Bowl appearance that you need to fill out the needs more.
Yeah, that's true. It was just interesting. I think that would only be the case if they'd fallen in love with Travis Etienne or someone like that. But
Yeah.
just a thought.
We will
All
find
right,
out tonight.
We will, which leaves me with my last pick, again with the Baltimore Ravens. And I was actually all locked in, ready to go with Jason Owe. And then I heard you almost take him, and my backup was the same as your backup, Tryon.
Yeah.
But just remembering that game when they had about 4 fumbled snaps,
That's a good point.
I'm
is a good
very
point.
tempted to go with Dickerson here.
Yeah, you got Pro Bowl centre. He's going to be mad for their run game as well, isn't he?
Joe's. Can't tell if you're
I
angry.
don't know if Joe's angry with that or
I don't know if
he
he
likes
knows.
I
it.
don't know how I feel about that.
But yeah, I think it will. I mean, so much of the Ravens is based on that run game.
Yeah.
They brought in Kevin Zeitler, who sorts the hole out that Marshall Yonder left after he retired a couple of years ago. Yeah, let's bring in Dickerson.
We're looking at him.
My question
love
for
that.
that is why the center isn't as important of a need as much as our right tackle position, which is now
That's
completely
fair.
open with Orlando.
Yeah, but when you
Brown
had
Who would
last
you have
season
gone with at right tackle?
potentially Leatherwood or
That's my issue. That none of
Walker
those guys, I
Little,
think, are
maybe.
worthy of that. I think Dickerson's all probably waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your centre was throwing
Slight-
like last season. Like that
You
strikes
lost
out
the
as
game
something.
because of that.
Yeah. I'd love for you guys to get Cosme or Liam Eichenberg in a second, personally.
Not sure they've got all the way. They may have to trade up.
They don't have a second round pick.
Maybe trade back. If Dickerson's still on the ball, probably someone would trade up for him. So trade back and maybe get him. Pick.
The final
Similar to the any real holes.
No, I won't. Running back is because you've very effective as a pair, especially when they're Buccaneers. I think personally, this is a complete luxury pick for me, and there's a few schools of thought down. Some people think that the Bucs could potentially get a QB to sit behind for a few years. I'm personally not into that thought. I think they're kind of all in on Brady.
Yeah.
They're all in on building around Brady. And when Brady beats them, to be honest, yeah, you might win a Super Bowl, but you just take advantage of it by it. And one of the areas I think really shined for them last year was Warren Winfield Jr. at safety. They could potentially safety, and looking at me like that.
Where you going with it?
I'm going to go for Richie Grant.
That's not.
Your second safety.
Yeah, I think he's one of the most experienced safeties coming into this draft. You're look at him on film. He's quite athletic. He's not only good in pass coverage, but he's really good in football. And I think that definitely. It is a bit of a luxury pick, like I said. It's not exactly the strongest draft, but I think there's not really many other holes on this team. They've managed to retain.
They just brought everyone back.
Their whole Super Bowl. They kind of can afford to just pick up the guy they like. It was really between Grant and maybe Elijah Molden.
Maybe pick Grant instead of Molden.
Recently, I've been looking at some tape, and I just really like. Obviously, Elijah Molden has played most of the time in that nickel.
Yeah.
At Washington, it's quite a weird system. He is basically doing what a safety would do in the NFL anyway. But I think Richie Grant is a more experienced safety.
And
And
if you're on a team that's looking to win again now, you don't want to have to wait for someone to develop.
yeah, I think honestly, I moved Richie Grant up to my safety number one above Morig. So I'd be very happy to sort of take a punt on him here. I think it's a luxury pick, like I said, but
It's nice to have. How often do you see it? When's the level 3/8?
should we recap the picks?
Let's do it.
Should
we have a look?
You've got it up on your board. Let's go with it.
All right, so my audio's a bit choppy here, so let me know and you guys can continue going. But so number one, is it fine over your end?
We're Wi-Fi.
All right, cool. So number one, Trevor Lawrence. Number two, Zach Wilson. Number three, San Francisco 49ers take Justin Fields. Number four, the Falcons take Pitts. 5, the Bengals take Sewell. 6, the Dolphins take Jamal Chase. 7, the Detroit Lions take Devonta Smith. 8, the Carolina Panthers take Jalen Waddle. 9, the Broncos nab Lance. At number 10, it's Caleb Farley for the Cowboys. 11, the Giants take...
I think it's interesting, like we said about, like we mentioned it before with how surprised we were that Micah Parsons fell so hard. Is there anyone else that you'd sort of
Mac Jones potentially.
that's one
I don't think we'll in the actual thing because someone will trade up for him. We saw those Panthers and Denver pick. I think they'd like to trade back and someone will move
The Falcons also could trade back. Yeah. I think, with that, Mac Jones, we've seen it so many times, like a bunch of quarterbacks go early and everyone panics and starts trading up. Micah Parsons, like we said, is a big surprise, completely out so far down the list. I mean, we can keep going with that, but
how much of that do you think? And I mean, as you said before as well, Stan, like I guess he was good last year, but he wasn't.
Micah Parsons.
Micah Parsons is quite similar to Isaiah Simmons.
in build.
Not coverage.
I don't think good. The fact that
We didn't even see Simmons like excel last
exactly,
year.
which was sort of
Simmons is miles above Parsons. I don't think they're very close in terms of their abilities as football players.
Simmons is basically a better passer at this point.
Yeah.
Yes,
Exactly.
I mean, we saw what Simmons could do in college. Simmons could actually play linebacker. Simmons could actually play in the slot. Simmons could play safety.
I
The
think
only
that's I think that's what Matt was saying, that in terms of athletic build, they're very similar, but Simmons is
Exactly.
yeah,
So I think
Simmons is
maybe-
miles above.
Which is why you've done with us here, like they know is going to play very well.
or you be uber aggressive with him.
True.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Should we get the rest of the plan?
Sorry, so the rest of the picks, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, right. So where we stopped last time?
Just get through to 30.
So we got through to like 7. Do you say 7 through to 13? Sorry, my audio is. I'm really struggling with my audio here.
You know what? I think it's our internet's breaking up. To be honest with you, mate.
Oh, okay, fair play. I was going to say I've got my stuff sorted out here. So 10. Do you say so? 10 to 13, yeah.
32. Just finish it off, mate.
Just
Take it
go
home.
through
Take
to
it
the
home,
end.
Stanley boy.
Okay, so Philadelphia Eagles take J.C. Horn, the cornerback, out of South Carolina. Chargers take Pat Surtain, the second. Minnesota Vikings at 14 take Elijah Vera Tucker. At 15, the Patriots grab their heir apparent Tom Brady, Mac Jones. At 16, the Cardinals unfortunately take Christian Barmore. At 17, the Las Vegas Raiders take Jamin Davis out of Kentucky. The Dolphins are next up, and they're going to take Jalen Phillips, edge rusher out of Miami. At 19, the Washington football team taking Christian Darrisaw. At number 20, Tevin Jenkins goes to the Bears. Number 20, the Colts are going to pick Rashad Bateman. Number 22, the Tennessee Titans get a steal of Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. They're having fallen to 22. 23, again, considerably what could be considered as a steal. Kwity Paye at 23 to the New York Jets. Steelers get their running back in Najee Harris at 24. Maybe a bit of a reach, but nevertheless, the safety position is now filled for the Jacksonville Jaguars at 25.
Mm-hmm.
Browns get their run game secured at 26 with Nick Bolton. Ravens finally get a receiver who can win contested catches in Terrace Marshall Jr. at 27. And number 28, Micah Parsons slides to the Saints. Number 29, the Green Bay Packers finally draft a first-round receiver.
Huzzah.
Number 30, the Buffalo Bills take Diami Brown to fill in John Brown's shoes. And number 31, Baltimore's take Landon Dixon, who will fill in at center. And at 32, finally, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Richie Grant, who will fit into their Super Bowl winning secondary.
Boom.
There we go.
It's an interesting draft we've had, boys.
It's weird.
I don't know how it's
weird.
going to look nothing like the real thing. There'll be a lot more trades in the real thing, to be honest.
That's true, which is why our draft bingo that we championed last season, and hopefully we'll be playing it again this season as well, no doubt.
Will we? We've got to organise that in the next 3 hours.
Yes, we do have to play draft bingo.
In that case, then check all of our social medias because we'll be probably putting it up there because once Matt creates it, he'll be putting it up. So
Yeah.
if it's not up there, it's Matt's fault. So they've been along the bottom of the screen the whole day long. So it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at The Dropback, our website, thedropback.com. We've got plenty of articles on there. So make sure you check them all out. Thank you so much for tuning in. I mean, it's been an absolute buzz doing this.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been great fun.
Boys.
Just shout out
We'll
to
be
the
back every
Britballing guys
Thursday
as well.
Absolutely. Britballing, thanks for having us to host this. We'll be here again next Thursday, provided they didn't see it and absolutely hate it. So fingers crossed.
Quite possibly.
If you didn't catch the whole thing, it will be released as a podcast tomorrow morning. So make sure you catch that.
You can compare it to the real thing then.
Yeah, exactly. You can see how
Which one do you
right we were.
prefer?
But
Podcast or a live stream? I quite like a
Also
live
live.
stream, being able to have like live questions and all that. I really
Yeah,
like
that's
been
that.
good.
really fun.
And thanks to everyone that's put in the questions as well. It's nice
Yeah.
engaging
Yeah.
with
it's
people's ideas.
awesome to engage with people. It's nicer knowing that people are actually listening than just recording to a screen.
Yeah, because I
Hella
think it
fun.
wasn't. So
But I think that's time to wrap it up tonight. Make sure you do enjoy the draft tonight. I'll send us any DMs if you've got any questions or reactions to anything. They're
we'll
always
be
open.
up watching it.
We
I've
will
been
be
Sam.
up.
I've been Matt.
I've been Joe.
And I've been Stan. See you next week.
Bye.
Cheers. Well,